Talk to me.
Hello, UCR. What's your favorite scary movie?
I love the scream. I've always got to pick up the scream just as it finishes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncensored Horror Live. Live. We haven't done a live for a hot little minute. Uncensored Horror Live. We like that. We live for that. Welcome. Welcome. It's just me and Katie here today, but hello. That's okay. We're down with that. We are more than capable. We are more than able. We are more than willing. I sound like Viola Davis in The Help, don't I? We is capable. We is willing. We is good. How have you been, Katie? What's been going on before we get started?
Well, first off, happy National Cat Day.
Meow!
Because, I am a cat lady. But I also did something remarkable that I just had to announce to you over the weekend. I saw a movie when I was out in theaters.
Wow, I'm very, very proud. Very proud. Usually I'm like, hey, has anyone seen this? Everyone's like, no. It's like, okay.
But no, I walked out of the theater and I said, Steve, I saw this movie. We should talk about it. And you're like, yes, we should.
We should. There's so much to talk about too. It's been blowing up the world, this one. It's making its presence well and truly known. So we'll not really sugarcoat things, and we'll talk about it. Today, the two of us are settling in to discuss brand new Australian horror hit. Talk to me. Okay, let's talk about the first thing that I became aware of is the marketing campaign for this. And you can tell that someone the brains behind this movie know the power of social media, because I heard about this movie at least 12 months before it was released, due to the Philippine brothers, notoriety on their YouTube channel as Raka Raka, and they're fairly well known here in Australia. But all these little bits and pieces started coming up, and then they were on like one of our. Oh, well, they were on a current affair over here. I was at one of our current affairs show, a current affair, about their first big Hollywood movie, and it just happens to be a horror film. Now, Australian horror is something we're going to talk about in a second too. But when did you first become aware of this, Katie? When did you hear about? Talk to me.
What preview was this in? It was in. It might have been in a Scream. It might have been in the Scream movie. There was
Wow,
a preview
really?
for this. I swear it might have been in the Scream movie that there was a preview for this, and I said, "Wow, that looks really good. It's gonna suck." Because, of course, everything that looks really, really good usually ends up sucking.
Yeah.
And I was just so excited for it, and and I almost forgot about it, honestly, because I was so hyped up for the new Scream movie, obviously. And then when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about this. And I got the invite to go see it. I actually had some time, shockingly enough. And here we are. And this is getting a lot of hype elsewhere because it actually got banned in Kuwait.
Yes, because of Zoe Teretzakis. Yes.
Oh, okay. So Google failed me on their pronunciation of the name.
I know Zoe. So Zoe is in a very, very famous TV show here in Australia. Zoe was part of the final couple of seasons of Wentworth, which is a women's prison show, and they were trans in that was like trans identifying in that show as well, and then they kind of showed that process in the show. So Zoe's kind of a known quantity in Australia, I guess you would say. But yeah, it's very interesting to see them.
And they had gender.
leading.
They are getting, or they've had gender confirmation surgery. They're going to be in a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
I think it's what I was reading. So
Yeah.
good for them.
excuse me. Yeah, it's Marvel. Marvel's actually doing big things with visibility, but that's for another.
That's a whole nother conversation. But love Zoe's character, by the way.
We also have amazing screen icon Miranda Otto in this movie, and I just forget how good she is in everything because I'm so used to her these days from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
I cackled very loudly in the theater because Miranda was such a bitchy mom in this movie, and I said that is exactly the kind of mom I aspire to be. And my friend looked at me and goes, "That's the kind of mom you want to be?" I said, "Exactly. Just catty and sarcastic and just like, I'm watching you."
It was my daughter's. It was my daughter's vagina is out of bounds, wasn't it? That did it for you.
The neighbors tell me everything. I know what's going on. Like, yeah.
Yeah. She was a smart mum though. She knew how to divide. Well, she thought she knew how to divide and conquer and everything about parties and stuff. But
you know what? She was also not overbearing, but also, you know, like she wasn't strict, but she also had some boundaries. But she was also pretty laid back. I think that's A+.
I know that a horror movie is making like waves when people that I know that don't like horror movies have seen this movie. My brother, I was talking to my brother recently, and he's like, "Oh, gotta go see this movie." I'm like, "Okay, yes, yeah." Anyway, long story short, one of his friends through work is brother to, I think, Sophie Wilde, or one of the female leads.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother and his wife went to the premiere as guests in Australia. They both hate horror movies, something chronic. And I got a message from my sister-in-law. She's like, "Oh my God, you've got to see this movie. It was so scary, but so good." I'm like, okay, if people that I know don't watch horror movies are saying that it's a good movie, then I definitely have to at least check it out and be present and be with it. And I've only just seen it recently too. I missed out. I normally go like first session, first day, but I was caught up in life to this and had to wait a couple of days.
Me so pink when movies live up to the hype that they put out there. It makes me so happy. Because my time is precious, and I'm not trying to be all snotty and entitled or whatever, but I don't have a lot of time to go out. And when I do, and the movie sucks or something, I feel like I wasted just time. I don't get to go out, and it's like I wasted this time, and I don't get it back. I could have been sleeping. I could have been doing something else, and I wasted it on that. But when it lives up to the hype and it's so good, it's like, yes, it was worth it. It was awesome.
Just to preface before we get into it, we're not going to go completely into the entire plot and everything today because it is so recent. It's still at the cinemas. People haven't seen it yet, so I don't want to spoil everything, but there will be spoilers. We can't talk about the movie without there being spoilers. So please, if you if you really want to see this movie unspoiled, make sure that you pause us and come back. But if you have seen it, join the conversation. Let us know what you think because it's very interesting how the opinion has been divided on this movie. We'll talk more about it at the end. But so should we dive in? Should we just talk loosely about the plot and everything?
Let's get all loosey-goosey on this.
So Talk to Me is, for want of a better word, a spirit communication movie. We get these in droves every now and then. We had it with most recently Oculus and that's not even really recent now, is it? Oculus and Ouija and all those movies that came through. Before that was Paranormal Activity and all this kind of stuff. But this one is a little bit of a different twist on it. To access the spirit realm, the teenagers in question, the Australian teenagers in question, have come into the possession of a ceramic hand, which is believed to be that of a fortune teller / psychic / spirit medium that resides inside the ceramic hand. So the real hand is in there. And when touched and held, it enables people to summon spirit and see spirit when they say the words, "Talk to me." If they however say, "I let you in," the spirit can then possess the body. There is a rule until 30 seconds, no longer. And, all good
90
plans. 90
90
seconds. 90
90.
seconds. Sorry. Yeah.
It's okay.
30 seconds is not very long.
It's not.
That's right. No, because I'm jumping ahead. That's right. I'm like 30 seconds
You're
stuck
okay.
in my head for a reason. And that's our plot really at the moment, without being too specific about what's going on with it. I'm very interested to hear what you thought of the pre-credit sequence. How do you think an Australian house party stacks up to an American house party?
Oi!
Where's Daggett? I've got to say, scarily accurate. I've been to that party. I've been to that party a few times, actually.
I can't tell you why I love the word oi so much, but I do.
Yeah, you're going to adopt it? Who the fuck's
like
Daggett? It's just that.
I just want to tell you guys, and I'm skipping ahead real quick, and then we can jump right back in.
It's okay.
When my amazing friends, Brooke, Luke, and Steve came to visit me in the States, we talked about roadkill and deer and raccoons sitting on the side of the road. There's a scene
let's not go too far in this.
No, I have to. It's relevant. There's a scene in this movie where there is a kangaroo in the middle of the road. It's not. It doesn't deter the plot any. There is a scene in the movie where there's a kangaroo dying in the middle of the road, and it just made me think of.
And you think of us. That's cute. Thank you.
Think of my friends.
Thank you. I was very jet lagged. Okay, let's not talk about it.
We don't hit deer. We hit kangaroos, and that's all. Yeah. That's all it was. Yeah. Okay, that's all. Yeah. Because we don't need to talk about that scene when we're going through this movie. There's no point in it. It's like it doesn't serve.
I think it's a bit of just a bit of a forewarning kind of. There's lots of metaphor, I think this is one that people are going to, go back and analyze every little bit and piece too.
But it made me think of you guys like, oh, I miss my Australians.
Cross-cultural, very, very soon to be a year since we were there. So
I miss you guys. But that made me think you guys driving home like, oh, we don't hit deer in Australia. We hit kangaroos.
It's nice that, this horror movie can bring us warm and happy memories as well.
We're together even when we're not together.
So yes, the initial house party has a young gentleman looking for his brother. What did you think of this scene? I kind of loved it.
I loved it too, and I have more than once seen a disgruntled white man break down a door at a party. So
right.
So it's all the same in every country, pretty much.
But talk about shock value straight away. I didn't see that coming.
I did not see what happens after he gets him out of the room. No, didn't see that one coming.
Didn't see it coming.
Are we gonna tell him what happens, or are we gonna let?
We find a very haunted young gentleman. Let's just put it that way. Duckett is a very haunted young gentleman who is scarred and locked himself in a bedroom talking to himself.
Duck
I
had
love
seen
that.
some things.
Yeah, I love that there's the mum's actually home for that house party as well, and she's in the kitchen cooking.
Yep, she's just cutting up things for a charcuterie board.
Yeah, go mum.
Yeah, I can't
That's a
say
cool
that
mum.
there are some American moms that will join a house party, but not a lot of them. Not a lot of them, but there are some.
My parents were known to join a bit of a session with the kids, but it was only probably 10 of us or so. So it was all good. And we're in our own home, so it was all good. And we're all 40, so it's all good. We all survived. It's all good. But a very shocking and interesting way to start the movie.
Yeah, that was
it didn't fuck around, and I like that. I like that because a lot of the times, especially with these spirit communication movies, it's a slow burn, and it's little bit by little bit by little bit. But we got, well, without sounding too, we cut to the chase straight away.
This movie got right into it.
What is it with eyes?
We're
back to a big thing with eyes again as well.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Like, there are very few things that kind of make me cringe right away, but
every couple of years we go back to it's either like what
teeth,
fingernails, and eyes. It's
yep.
like, yeah, cool.
That'll get me every time. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, oh great, thank you. That's fantastic. That's great.
Thank you. I like, and within the first 5 minutes, you could have like eased me into this. Thank you. Thank you.
So after a very shocking first scene, and that's over and done with in like 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure. Not even.
Yes.
I was like, oh wow, okay. We cut to being introduced to 17-year-old Mia, who is struggling with the anniversary of her mother's death. She has a very strained relationship with her father and seeks comfort in her best friend's family. Her best friend Jade with her mother Sue and little brother Riley. And this is, we've all had this friend that, just kind of becomes part of the family, the adopted sibling. And great chemistry between these actors as well. I think that they are all really strong performances, and you can see that there's subtext. Even now, you can see, yes, they're friends, but there's something else going on underneath all of that, especially between Jade and Mia straight away. I was like, oh, they're friendly, but they're not like super friendly.
If I had to say, out of all the performances in this whole movie, I'd have to say Jade was probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
She'd have to be the weakest for me. She had to be my least favorite. And I don't know if it's because I'm mad at her for how she treated Mia, or if
I think it'd be a hard role. I think it'd be a hard role to like really gain a lot of sympathy for until the end, because she's kind of that Hedda Langenkamp-esque character. So,
and I don't like
remember in Nightmare. Remember in our first Nightmare movie how Nancy wasn't necessarily like the final girl material. She was just and Nancy, and fate kind of ended up making her. I see Jade the same way, and I really thought about that because I was like, she's kind of in the middle of everything. So she wants to be loyal to her best friend. She wants to be loyal to her family. She wants to be loyal to her boyfriend, and everything's pulling her in the different directions. So the more I thought about it, and as the movie went along, I was like, oh, okay, I see it, because I felt the same.
But I also don't like how she treated Riley. She's kind of a bitch to Riley.
Yeah, but siblings.
Yeah,
siblings.
We'll get to that.
We'll get
to that, and then I'll explain a little more.
We'll get to that. So
we'll get to that.
There's a hot rumor going around about the hand. The hand. Okay, the hand. Like in any high school, I guess I don't know if it still happens. I guess it does, because we've had like Slender Man and all that kind of stuff, and the Three Kings game, and all like these kind of urban legend things that take
Well-
over a schoolyard.
Well, now it's creepypasta.
Yeah, like, and I think that's cool that it still happens. But this is what's happening. The hand. Everyone has to meet the hand. So
Mhm.
Haley is. Well, it's not really their hand. It's Haley's. What's his name? What's his friend? What's Haley's friend's name?
Joss.
Joss. There we go. Joss. It's Joss's hand.
Joss is
Well,
a babe.
we're
And
led to
I think you
believe.
say that because they're in high school, but Joss is a babe.
Joss looks a little bit older than high school. I'm saying. I think Joss is the older, maybe postgraduate friend that hangs around a little bit. He's the Matthew McConaughey.
I'm going to assume that Joss is of legal age as an actor playing probably a teenager and is safe for me to call him a babe.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. So they hear all about the hand and what the hand lets people do. So they go to a house party, and Mia, who is desperate to get in contact with her mother, volunteers to participate in the seance. Now, Mia is at this point on the outs because, as happens with girls, Jane gets a boyfriend and she gets a bit dickmatized.
Mm-hmm.
She gets a bit dickmatized. Well, not really, because she hasn't had it yet.
She hasn't even kissed him yet.
She hasn't even kissed him yet. Poor Max, right? Is that Max?
No.
Max?
I don't know. I keep going. I will.
Daniel.
Okay.
I'm like, it's some generic name. I'm like, some generic name. Daniel, and he seems like a sweet guy. Daniel and Mia held hands once. They were boyfriend and girlfriend first because they held hands once. But poor Mia's on the outside because Jane's crushing on Daniel, etc. Now, I thought this was an interesting way of getting us into this supernatural thing, that when the person who is holding the hand first sees the spirit realm, we don't see it straight away. Only they see it, and we have to rely on the reaction. Because it's still questionable whether this is really happening at this point, at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And it's only when they invoke "I let you in" that we start to see it, and then things start to really happen. We got to talk about the possession performances in this movie because, wow, if there's anything like any kind of movie that I would ever want to be in, it would be a horror movie. And I would either want to be in a slasher or something like this, where you got to really go unhinged. Now we get full black-eyed, like monster, scary possession here of Mia, and she manages to connect with something, a couple of things by the looks of it, because like everyone gets all excited. Now I think it's really interesting that the phones come out straight away. You know what I mean? The phones are out and everything's recorded. So
as it happens nowadays.
Yeah, the potential for the notoriety of this movie and the way it can spin because of social media and phones is really interesting, and something that I'm sure we're going to talk about at the end. But I'm really interested in these spirits, that what we're suggesting with this hand is it's supposed to connect you to whoever's around and wanting to talk. But these spirits, the ones that they connect with really strongly, seem to be quite dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to know who she was talking, because she fixates on the little Riley, and he's gonna chop you. I'm like, who is that? I want to know what spirit that is. Like, what kind of serial killer you chopped into?
If you think of any kind of possession or Ouija, like think of any Ouija board film, or any time they tell you, like when you're playing with a Ouija board, they tell you if whatever you let in, if you open a door, you're letting anything in. It could be anything, it could be anyone.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's probably not that good.
It's like anything, really. It's like Omegle and all those things. You're not just because you're chatting to someone doesn't mean you're really chatting to anyone. You know, it's like
just because
the Buffy the Vampire Slayer line. Just because I'm in the what is it? Oh, it was really funny line. I can't remember something about Spanish midgets or something in the chat room. Doesn't mean I'm in the. Anyway, I'm old. I can't remember the quote anymore.
No, man, I just had this chat with my oldest about internet safety. That's another time.
That's another time.
That's for another episode, folks. Anyways, but I thought that kind of creeped me out too when I just like goes right for Riley, just like it's gonna chop you.
It's gonna chop you. It's gonna chop you. Run! I'm like, who are you talking? Like, I want a movie about that guy. Like, who's that guy? I want to know who that is.
And he's just in poor little Riley, just got little tears running down
Riley,
his face. Like,
yes. Now we're going to talk about Riley because Riley is fully invested as a younger kid, and wanting to prove he's cool and strong and tough.
Mm-hmm.
Riley wants to go. Eventually, the whole movie plays out. We find out a lot of information, which we're not going to talk about here because we want you to enjoy it. But Riley eventually ends up strapped to the chair, unbeknownst to Jade, who is saying no completely and shutting it down. But the stipulation is Riley only gets 60 seconds or 30 seconds or something like that. 50, that's right.
Mia gives him permission for 50. And also, Jade, after that whole thing happens, he tries to like spend the night with Jade. And Jade's like, you're not 9 years old anymore. Fuck off.
Yeah.
She's a bitch. I would have let him at least sleep on the floor. Or like take the dog. Like, at least let him have the dog to try to make him feel better. Jade, you're not a bro. You are not a bro.
You're not a good sister.
You're not a bro. No.
So
that's why I don't like you.
This is I'm pretty sure this is a standout moment in this movie when we get Riley's possession. This kid.
Oh, look at him.
This kid can act. This kid can capital A act. Like, the reason that his possession is allowed to go on for so long is that it seems like he connects with Mia's mother.
Those contacts.
And they keep pushing it until something darker steps in and takes over. Now, this went from kind of uneasy to batshit crazy in the blink of an eye as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit hereditary for me, though.
Just a little.
A little bit? I was like, okay, cool. I wasn't alone. That's good.
But he went a little Alex Wolf on it.
And again, more eye. I'm like, oh, what's with the eyes? Why?
Except, he didn't look as, put together as Alex Wolf afterwards.
No, that's the whole point, I think. But, that the violence that happens and the acting in that room from everyone, I'm like, whoa, that's some good shit. That's some good shit. And the kid that plays Riley deserves props.
You got to think they just told him just let go. Just let go and go for it.
I'd love to. Hopefully that there'll be some kind of behind the scenes when this gets released physically. But there's been a big historic announcement for people if you are Australian. Today, it's been confirmed that Disney Media will no longer be releasing physical media as of August here in Australia. So goodbye DVDs, goodbye Blu-rays. Yeah, the end time is nigh if you're a physical holder. So hopefully this movie will still get a physical release. I would love to know a bit more about the making of this. I think it'd be a super interesting kind of thing to learn.
When I'm looking at, I mean, put his creepy ass up again. Like, look at him. You gotta like. There's not a whole lot of going on, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that's very practical makeup and effects right there. I mean, that's blackout contacts. That's practical makeup.
Yeah,
That's
the acting did it all. The acting and the voice,
I
like the voice manipulation.
I love that. I love it when these movies take very like they take the budget and they use it very effectively. And you can see it in the movie. It shows.
Well,
it
that
very well
I
done.
think
The
this
practical
proves
effects
this.
and the
Yeah.
makeup.
This proves the
Very
strengths of an actor. Really, like you can do possession well,
Mhm.
or you can do it really, really badly. I look at Jennifer Carpenter from what movie is it now? From Dexter. Come on, she was possessed. Laura Linney's in it. Come on, people.
Hold on.
The not the taking of Deborah Logan. That's the other one. The nope. The
I'm trying.
Hold on. I'm trying to think too.
The evil. No, that's a video game.
The Evil Dead.
No, I'm looking at her IMDb. I'm trying here.
Possession movie.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Emily Rose. There we go.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree here, sir.
She was brilliant. She was brilliant in that movie. Her acting, whatever. Later for you. Later for you.
We're gonna agree to disagree here.
Jeffrey says, "Oh,
girl.
Oh girl.
Oh girl."
But yeah, okay. Well, anyway, I thought she was brilliant. I thought this kid was brilliant. Riley ends up completely fucked up and in hospital, unresponsive, and not looking good. Not looking good at all.
AKA Katie's life. Yes. Very, very accurate. Very accurate to my life. Absolutely.
So Mia and
bed in a hospital, fucked up for days. Yep.
Mia and Jade pieced together that the spirits won't release Riley because they like his innocence. They are really latched onto him, and then things go from bad to worse when we get another attack moment. That's crazy. I think that shower scene is another what the fuck? There's blood, there's biting, there's body fluid. It's whoa, okay, we're taking this moment and ratcheting up even further. It's
there was another movie that did it was Drag Me to Hell. It was the seance scene. It was very similar to that where the goat.
Yeah.
Very the very creature like. It was just
it's just
off the bathroom floor. It's ooh.
Yeah. It's not the life to lead, really, is it? It's just no, thank you. I don't want it. But Mia is obviously blamed for this whole thing. And I think rightly so. I mean, she was in charge of Riley, for want of a better word. He's a minor, she's his big sister.
Mm-hmm.
The movie has tried to set up that that relationship is really important, but I feel like she let the ball slip for her own selfish reasons.
Right.
And I kind of think this is where it kind of fell off a little bit for me. I don't really care about Mia's mum.
See, this is where it got.
And that whole That whole
This
story,
is-
I was like, oh, really?
See, this is
Give
where
us more
it kind of-
ghosts.
this is where it kind of got a little more interesting for me because you kind of wonder, like, she starts talking to her mom, and you're like, do I trust the mom? Do I not trust the mom?
Yeah, I
Because
get
she's-
that was cool. The ghost stuff was cool. I'm talking about the non-ghost related stuff. Like, I don't really care about her relationship with her dad. Like, I don't like.
Oh
that's
yeah,
not
I don't care about the
I
dad.
feel like they tried to force that a little bit. Like in the middle
The dad,
where we were like all like ghosts and possession and da 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 da. I was like, all right, let's slow the movie down for about
the dad could have
20
stayed
minutes.
completely in the background the whole
Right.
time,
I don't think we
And-
needed him
and
until the end.
could have been totally fine. Wouldn't have missed him. Wouldn't have made the movie any different. Quite honestly.
If anything, it would have made a more. I think if anything, it would have made a more interesting comment because at the beginning of the movie, we never see him. We only hear him, and we see him in like shadow and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we see the ghosts when they first start to emerge in the real world. So it could have been a more interesting comment on Mia's perception of reality through her grief and stuff like that. But then
Yeah.
to make it quite literal and factual, it kind of slumped in the middle. Like I wanted more supernatural stuff. I wanted if what we're supposed to think at the end of this movie, well, you know, as the general public, if and not as us as viewers, is that Mia has done this because of her mental state. I don't think they earned that in the movie because we're seeing it, but it needed to be more questionable. That for want of a better term, and you know, to reference another franchise, it needed to be more insidious. Like we needed to see those ghosts or those spirits lying in small ways to manipulate things, and I think that payoff. Yeah, I missed that payoff. It kind of at the beginning of the routine for the acro routine, there's a big stumble in the middle, and I don't know that it fully recovers from this middle section.
Yeah, it definitely slumps a little bit, but
Right, I'm glad that we actually this is the first time we've reviewed a movie and not talked about it at all before we've gotten on. We kind of just went blah blah and just started today. But I'm glad because I was like, I really wanted to love it and be involved in it, but it got to this middle section and I did the watch look. I'm like, okay, how long have we got left? And I wasn't doing that at the beginning.
I mean, with this, I wasn't watching the clock, but I was kind of like, I mean, I was looking at it, I was like, this is slipping a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what's it doing here? And then
after the scene with Daniel, we don't really get another. We don't really. Oh, this is my problem. Okay. After the scene with Daniel and Mia.
By the way, I called the toe scene. I just want to
Yeah.
put that there. I called that.
the scene with Daniel and Mia, we don't really get another scene of her acting
trigger warning,
questionably.
there's some toe sucking if you don't like the toe sucking.
We don't get another scene of her acting questionably around somebody else until that last, 10-minute block where shit goes crazy.
I think it needed more of that. I think it needed more
it did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it needed more of her seeing these things and questioning her
her sanity, and what's going on. And it needed to happen around Jade. I think if it happened around Jade as well, it would have brought Jade into the story because they kind of. That's the problem with Jade too. She's kind of integral to the story at the beginning. They take her out of it once she gets attacked by her brother,
right?
And then she's supposed to come in at the end and be the hero,
right? And now all she knows is that her best friend is sucking on her boyfriend's toes.
Yeah, but that it just seems such a weird spot to take that out. And same with Daniel. Daniel just disappears out of the movie.
And then you bring Haley and Joss back into it and
to disappear again.
Right. And then you just magically bring
Duckett's brother.
who is miraculously alive, by the way.
Well, I think that he could have survived that, let's be honest.
Right, but you're not thinking he is.
Yeah, we didn't know that. But a bit more investigation into and knowing that happened. They don't even reference that. They briefly reference it, and then they're after him like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the brother doesn't give you much to go off of. Like,
No.
they leave your body. Eventually, they get weaker and they leave your body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all you're gonna give me?
That's all you. Yeah.
Like,
It's like that they hadn't fully, and this does happen with, especially with movies that become unexpectedly huge hits. They haven't worked out their universe yet and what the rules are 100% in their universe.
right. And these are
And I
usually
think,
these are usually the scenes in these movies where you get like, oh, well, my brother went to these parties with Josh and Haley, and he was desperate to be cool, so he would do anything to win their friendship. So one day at this party, he decided this was the day he was going to win. Like, you get this huge backstory, you get a character arc, you get everything. Like,
it happens, but it's very throwaway. It's very throwaway.
Yeah.
And I think that if they had stopped trying to force the Mia dad thing, like that seems to really take over in the middle of the movie and kill it. Where I feel like there's no stakes in the middle of it. Like, it just kind of, everyone's like, okay, well, this kid's dying in a hospital in medically induced coma because he can't stop trying to kill himself. But let's take a minute to talk about your daddy issues.
And you know what's even shittier is, and I'm sure we're going to get into this later after we're done talking about the movie, they announce there's a prequel.
Wait, we'll talk about it at the end.
Well, okay, so let's talk about the prequel really quick because this is relevant to the Duckett thing. Kind of. Okay, so they announced there's a prequel. So they say we've already filmed a prequel. You know nothing about Duckett. You know nothing about his brother. And yet you're saying, okay, hey, here's a prequel.
But is this not what we praised X for? X and Pearl?
But you know a little more about X and Pearl.
We didn't really know. To be fair, we didn't really know that much about Pearl in X. We knew that she was a crazy old lady that liked to. And Pearl, as I said, Pearl made me enjoy X and look at X in a different way. So maybe this prequel will do the same for this.
I knew a shit ton more about Pearl than I knew about Duckett and his brother.
I hope that we're going to we'll get that slow burn with the prequel, and then it will make sense in continuity and stuff like that. Once that, it seems to be the thing to do though now, isn't it? Just to sneakily film two movies when you get the budget for one. It's like, well, you never know in this economy. Let's make it happen.
But you also got a lot more of an introduction to Pearl with X. Like,
yeah, but I don't think it's not meant to be. Yeah, they really wanted us to focus on Mia in this movie for better or for worse. Mia is our protagonist, and I think that had it maybe been billed as an ensemble cast movie as opposed to Mia's story, it might have played out a little bit different. Because, as I said to you, I don't care about Mia's dad. I really don't care if Mia's mum killed herself or not.
I 100% agree.
Like, I know that these aren't real people, so I can say that. I don't care.
Well, the whole
and
suicide,
she needs to.
Well, the
she
whole
needs to
suicide
deal.
thing, whether she did or didn't, that's a whole red herring thing. That is
right.
That
they invest so much time on it. They invest so much time on it.
They did.
Ugh.
But
yeah,
I still feel kind of about the whole prequel thing because, like I said, I felt a lot better going into Pearl from X because I knew a little more about it. When they announced, hey, we have a prequel, I was like, well, what the hell do I know about these guys? Like, why do I care?
We'll find out. I guess, because, Mia becomes, I guess, it's again like another little addiction motif. And yeah, her lines draw between reality and fantasy and, the darkness. There's no good spirits in here. There's no good spirits. But Mia, the spirits that possess Mia, they obviously want to keep Riley. They want to keep. Yeah.
was freaking cool. That
was very
Nightmare.
Nightmare. That was very Nightmare on Elm Street, wasn't it? With the all the souls attacking Riley.
Oh, that was cool. I wish they had dragged that out just a tiny bit longer instead of like the flashback.
Right, something else we could see.
But it was cool.
Something else we could find, and understand a bit more, and maybe just even have a glimpse of Riley come through. Give us while he's that.
Like you get a quick glance, but maybe just like a help me or something, like just like
even a grab and a look or something, something that other movies do that they didn't choose. But cool. that's a director's choice. Yeah. It's kind of it's almost baked, but so Mia loses complete links with reality. Attacks her own father.
She gone.
And then she decides that the only way to save Riley is to kill him. Now, killing him will obviously keep his soul with the spirits, and that's what they want. So she's being lied to. And I think they spell that out to us, the viewer, perfectly. Yeah, we get it. Totally. These spirits don't... Even her mother, who is supposedly, a peaceful, gentle spirit, is not what she seems. It is, a manifestation that has taken her mother's visage and is trying to do it. But the end was great. When she got back to the hospital, I'm like, yes, this is what I was missing.
Yes.
Why did we go on like a 15, 20-minute tangent about shit that no one cared about?
Right. This was good. This was perfect.
This was good. And this is where something could have happened. Like, she could have had another interaction with Daniel or Haley or Joss, when they were trying to find where this kid, she takes Riley from the hospital. Like, even the mother, give her an interaction with the supernatural, because Mum doesn't see it at all. Mum sees mental illness, which is fair enough. But as I said earlier, we don't get the questioning. We only see the ghosts.
Right.
Like great movies that do this, like The Sixth Sense and stuff like that make you really want to question what you've watched and how reliable your narrator is. Like, they earn this kind of stuff. I'm thinking like Inception and Shutter Island and stuff like you go, all right, is this person seeing something? And even as an audience, you go, ooh, but we are firmly in the... It doesn't ring true to me that they just go, oh, she's mentally ill.
And you just love how instantly it clicks with her, like, oh, fuck, I'm being deceived. When her mom is just, I'm so proud of you, just do it, and he'll be with us forever. And she's just like, oh, shit, they lied to me.
Yeah.
Just like how quickly she got it.
But even, this cut, there are parts of this movie where they don't cut away from the violence, from the tension, from the whatever. And there's parts of this movie where they do cut away from it, and that end cutaway kind of, I saw it coming. I'm like, okay, wait, she's going to step out on the road.
Yeah,
I wanted to see it. Like, do you know what I mean?
I didn't need to see it. Like, I knew she was going to do it. I didn't need to see her do it. And but even
for a movie that wasn't going to... But for a movie that wasn't going to pull their punches with the violence that a child was doing to himself. And that's violent, multiple times.
It
was a bit of a cop-out for me. Sorry. I thought, I was like...
Here's my reasoning behind it, I think. Might have been
go.
budgetary. They might have ran out of money. I think it was effective because you had to question at the very last second, was she actually going to do it or was she not? Because it really was like a split-second decision. Like, is she going to push him or is she not? You had to really think about it. Like, and they wanted you to. They really wanted you to think, like, is she going to do it or is she not? Because it really was the split-second decision. And even when she was laying there, like, my friend and I looked at each other like, is she or isn't she? Because we had to question it for a second.
The second she got up, I was like, yeah, I know what's happening here.
Yeah, as soon as she got up and started walking, we're like, no, she's definitely dead.
Yeah. and we see her observing everything as as the world turns, and a very interesting perception of what it is to be a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting. Um, I've only just thought of it when we're having this conversation. You know what would have really done it for me and
Mm-hmm.
kind of made the movie a little bit more interesting is if it was a question of whether she threw herself in front of the car or did Riley push her in front of the car. If we got a sense that Riley still has something inside of him from that interaction when he leaves the hospital, even if it was a look back over his shoulder, so we knew that he still saw her or sensed her, something like that would have kind of made me go, oh, because it just turned very formulaic in that last bit. Like, okay, she's dead.
But here's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
When we're at the end of the big spoilers.
Yeah, huge spoilers.
Huge spoilers. So we're at the end. She's walking through the hospital, and you see Riley and Jade and the mom, and Riley is recovered. It's fine.
Yep.
He's happy. How does her sacrificing herself get him released? That's what I want to know.
Maybe, and it's an awkward, because they did say given time that it would release itself. Maybe it was just a sacrifice of they jumped on the next soul because she was so open to it in that dying moment, but they don't spell that out. It would have been great if she was all right, here we go, here's another something, and again, it could have been budgetary. If we were to see, as we do, people start to gather and we start to see these souls gather in the group with them, then that would make sense, right?
Like, as you see the darkness,
and you see the spirit that was possessing Daniel. Not Daniel. Riley joined the crowd, and they step in. We get that she's absorbed. They've taken her instead of him.
And what I thought was going to happen when it started to get darker, like in the hallways, I thought it was going to start ganging
hands
up
and stuff
around her, and that would have made sense to me.
Right? Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
They were too ambiguous at the end.
Right.
Too ambiguous, and then we see the hand come through. I'm like, okay, it's the other hand. We get it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I didn't hate the ending.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't. Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me though.
Yeah, it didn't stick didn't stick the landing.
No, didn't hate it, but didn't love it.
Yeah, look. So that's the end. If you that's, but yeah, like as I said, for about the first half of this movie, totally in it, totally in it, all about it. Cool, great, yes, amazing. Just it hits that dad/family/mother moment, and it kind of really derails everything. All right, for me, I'm like, oh, okay.
It didn't ruin it completely for me. Like I said, I still really liked it.
I liked it, and I really liked the ending too. But it took the wind out of the sails for me. I'm just like, oh, we're in this, but then nothing really happens. It's like,
I liked the ending. I like that she's reaching out.
Stuck. Yeah.
I like that she's stuck. I like that she's the next one.
And we'll probably see her in some form again. You know what I mean? Somewhere down the line. But yeah, so off a very modest, not modest for an Australian film, but 4.5 million. This is at 26.1 so far. So definitely in the continuation vein, as Katie mentioned. The Philippe brothers have announced that they filmed a prequel at the same time that they were filming this movie. So there is something else coming in the universe. But a mere, 9 hours ago now, there was another announcement.
Talk to me. And I hate it.
Will be making its way.
I hate it.
I don't know that I hate it. I don't know that I hate it.
I hate it. And I even said to my friend, I said, if they make a sequel out of this, I'm out. A prequel I could probably get on board with because, they'd probably do the brothers and I could probably get on board with that. They do a sequel, I'm out. They gotta leave stuff like this alone, and this is why.
But they won't. Yeah, they won't.
They
never
gotta
will.
leave this stuff alone. They gotta. I understand why they do it because, but they gotta leave the shit alone. You're not gonna get any better than that. You're not. You're not.
I don't know. Well, look, we've probably got to have another conversation about a whole lot of announcements that have happened in the horror world in another show. So we won't spoil those here. But how many disembodied medium hands do you give this one out of 5?
I will give it 3.5. 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because that middle part really kind of dragged it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was still really good. It was still really, really good.
Definitely. We're gonna be the same. I think that, you know, anything that A24 decides to smack its label on is gonna be something that is worth your time. Whether you enjoy the whole thing or not, it is something that is worth your time. It's an interesting flex for them because they do the elevated horror stuff, but this is kind of like The Sixth Sense meets Hereditary in that way. Like it's like, I think this will appeal to teenagers. You know, this is their teen offering. It's not The Witch, is what I'm saying.
You know, I'm so funny because I'm at one spectrum or the other because Mama loves her some elevated horror.
Yeah, of course.
I'm at the other end of the spectrum, and I will.
Katie made us watch Leprechaun. Like, yeah,
love me some campy horror all day, every day. It is just so funny what I'm in the mood for because when we decided to go to the movies, it was either going to be the Meg 2 or it was going to be this.
Oh wow! Okay, that's a choice. That's a choice.
I still want to see the Meg 2. So if you've seen the Meg 2, you need to let me know how that was.
It's a lot of Meg, is what I'm hearing.
I'm still going to go see it, whether you liked it or not, but I just kind of want to know what I'm swimming into here.
Yeah.
Let me know.
We'll see. Calmer waters, who knows? And it looks like there'll be more hands to hold in the future. But until then, thank you for joining us on Uncensored Horror. It's been a nice little, tete-a-tete with my lovely friend Katie. We will be back to splatty with blood, gore, and all things wonderful again soon. Thanks for joining us. Bye.